Welcome back to the Playground Lab. Today, we're exploring two of the most fascinating nootropic research peptides ever studied. Let's step inside the science. The information presented in this episode is intended for educational and informational purposes only. Semax and Selank are research compounds and are not approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for general medical use. This episode explores the current scientific literature and emerging research without promoting or encouraging personal use. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making decisions related to your health or medical care. Now, let's step inside the Playground Lab and explore the science behind Semax and Selank. Have you ever wondered if a peptide could do more than support physical recovery? What if researchers were studying compounds that may influence memory, focus, learning, and even how the brain responds to stress? That's exactly where today's episode begins. Semax is a synthetic peptide originally developed by researchers in Russia. It was designed from a small fragment of a naturally occurring hormone called adrenocorticotropic hormone, or ACTH. Unlike the original hormone, however, Semax was modified to primarily target the central nervous system rather than the body's stress response. Over the years, scientists have investigated Semax for its potential role in supporting cognitive function, neuroprotection, learning, memory, and attention. Because of these unique properties, it has become one of the best-known research peptides in the field of nootropics and neuroscience. But how can such a small peptide potentially influence something as complex as the human brain? To answer that, we need to look at how Semax is believed to work. Unlike many peptides that act on muscles or metabolism, Semax is believed to work primarily within the brain. Researchers have found that it may influence several important signaling pathways involved in learning, memory, and cognitive performance. One area of interest is its potential effect on proteins known as brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, and nerve growth factor, or NGF. These proteins help support the growth, maintenance, and survival of neurons, the cells responsible for transmitting information throughout the nervous system. Scientists have also investigated whether Semax may affect neurotransmitters such as dopamine and serotonin, which play important roles in motivation, mood, attention, and mental focus. By influencing these systems, researchers believe Semax may help the brain adapt to stress while supporting healthy cognitive function. Although these findings are promising, much of the research has come from laboratory and clinical studies outside the United States. More high-quality research is still needed to fully understand how Semax works and who, if anyone, may ultimately benefit from it. Now let's shift our attention to Selank, another peptide that has attracted significant interest in neuroscience research. While Semax is often studied for its potential effects on cognition and mental performance, Selank has been investigated primarily for its possible role in stress, anxiety, and emotional well-being. Like Semax, Selank was originally developed by researchers in Russia. It is a synthetic peptide based on a naturally occurring immune protein called tufsin, but it was modified to improve its stability and activity within the body. Researchers have explored Selank for its potential to influence neurotransmitters involved in mood regulation, including serotonin and GABA. Because of these effects, scientists have studied whether Selank may help support a calmer mental state without producing the heavy sedation that is often associated with traditional anti-anxiety medications. While the early research is encouraging, Selank remains an investigational compound, and additional clinical studies are needed to better understand its long-term safety, effectiveness, and potential medical applications. One unique aspect of both Semax and Selank is that they're most commonly studied as intranasal or nasal spray compounds rather than injections. Researchers believe the nasal route may allow these peptides to reach the central nervous system more directly by traveling along pathways connected to the nasal cavity and brain. Although injectable forms do exist in some research settings, the intranasal route has been the primary focus of many studies because it's non-invasive and may provide more direct access to the areas researchers are trying to investigate. However, scientists are still working to better understand how much of these peptides are absorbed, how they move through the body, and whether one delivery method offers meaningful advantages over another. As with many investigational compounds, more high-quality research is needed before firm conclusions can be made. As we've seen throughout today's episode, Semax and Selank represent a fascinating area of neuroscience research. While Semax has been studied for its potential effects on learning, memory, focus, and neuroprotection, Selank has drawn attention for its possible role in stress regulation, anxiety, and emotional balance. Although the early research is promising, it's important to remember that both compounds remain investigational. Many of the questions surrounding their long-term safety, effectiveness, and potential medical applications still require larger, high-quality clinical studies. The science continues to evolve, and that's exactly why we explore these topics here on the Playground Lab, to separate evidence from hype and help you better understand the research as it develops. In our next episode, we'll examine one of the most recognized peptide combinations in the research community, CJC1295 and ipamorelin, and explore how researchers are studying their effects on growth hormone signaling, recovery, and healthy aging. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time inside the Playground Lab. The science never stops evolving, and neither do we. Join me next time on the Playground Lab as we explore the powerful research behind CJJ1295 and ipamorelin. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring the science.